Daryl Morey has been way ahead of the curve on this. The MIT guy. I said Harvard earlier, my bad. Harvard's not a bad miss by me, though. He's an MIT guy.
Well, it's very different, Harvard and MIT.
I know. MIT's more impressive to me.
Well, it's just different. Like MIT is more technical, like math, science.
Yeah, you could be smart and go to Harvard. It seems like you have to be a genius to go to MIT.
Well, it's just a different type of genius, like left side, right side of brain sort of thing.
All right, Daryl Morey. What side of the brain are you, Daryl? You're an MIT guy. Are you left or a right, or what are you?
I think the side of the brain thing has been a little debunked, but more left classically. It is an insult to say you went to Harvard if you went to MIT.
See? I went to Eastern Washington University. I'm insulted if you say I went to...
Hey, Rodney Stuckey.
That's right.
Hey. I didn't know there were such distinguished alumni from there.
So when this Chris Paul stuff comes down, tip of the cap to you, arms race, I totally buy into it. But how do things come together quickly, Daryl, or had you felt for 2 or 3 weeks you could get it done?
Came together quickly. Didn't know if we could get it done. Had some high-level conversations with Lawrence at a pro day in L.A. a couple of weeks ago, but it was more like, hey, in July, if Chris wants to come here, a sign and trade works for both parties. Would that be something everyone's open to? And we both agreed we would be. The Clippers were smart by moving early. It actually is valuable to a trade partner to move early. It gives us more flexibility in terms of players we can add with our exceptions. It gives us more clarity going into free agency of what we need to add. So that going early really allowed us to get them more value. They were smart to come up with this idea of moving them early, and we jumped at it.
That's what I saw yesterday. I'd rather have Chris Paul than Parts, but I thought the Parts were darn good at draft pick. Listen, Beverly and Lou Williams can play in this league. Decker may develop into that. So in the end, now conversely, Kevin Pritchard's been more patient. Is there a rule among GMs? If a guy wants to leave, go quick or wait. What's the rule for you guys?
Well, I think teams have done it differently. I do think the teams that move quicker do better. I think that's the history. Obviously, as time goes on, there's less value to the other team with the remaining amounts of their contract. I think that if you wait until the bitter end, then people are sort of playing off their different options of signing him and things like that. So. Again, I think the Clippers got a lot of value in this deal. They got more than most superstars have been traded for in the past, and it's because they went early, and there was a lot of value of that to us, and we were able to give that to them.
Paul's a tremendous defensive guard. Not everybody in this league is great at defense, especially smaller players. I think he's a tremendous defender. When I go watch the Clippers play, he turns guys, right-handers to the left side. He fights through screens. Was his ability to defend and Harden sometimes struggling with that, was that part of your interest?
Yeah, I mean, Chris Paul's, I'd say an underrated defender, but I think he's been on the all-defensive team maybe every year I got to go back and look, but he's a tremendous defender. That's a huge factor. Whoever is next to James needs to be able to shoot or defend or handle the ball, and we just got a Hall of Famer who does all three of those. And so we're extremely. I mean and honestly, and the guys next to Chris need to be able to shoot and attack. So I think it's going to be an unbelievable fit. And I've had a few people question it. I'd harken back to the people who were wondering whether or not Durant should join Golden State. That seems to be working out fine. I would say, whenever you can add a Hall of Famer, it's a good day.
Well, I also think that Harden and Paul are smart guys, and I think Wade and LeBron didn't ideally fit, and they're smart guys, and Durant, Steph, Clay, Draymond are smart guys. And I'm a big believer in guys that stay in school a few years, like Draymond did, and Clay did, and Steph did, and by the way, Chris Paul did, and Harden. I think sometimes the draft, the players aren't emotionally ready. Forget about physically ready. Is part of the. I would argue this, Daryl. I love the way you did it, and I'm willing to give up some draft picks because I believe that the draft isn't providing what it did 15 years ago and 10 years ago. It's providing you kids. Does that go into your thought process about just getting adults in these deals?
It goes, you're a little too down on picks in my opinion, but I would say it goes to our process when we're at the stage we're at as a franchise. I think the picks for the teams that are rebuilding they're really looking for that next guy who can be a top 20, 30, 40 player in the league. And with that, the younger players are more likely to become that. So that's why you see those players go high. It's because not all the teams that are obviously have the high picks are the ones rebuilding. They're going for the upside. And the nice thing is it does leave these, very good, later players. We just had to include one in the trade. Montrezl Harrell stayed multiple years at Louisville. He contributed to us. Sam Decker's the guy we picked. He stayed multiple years at Wisconsin. He contributed to us. So it does, we generally go the direction you're saying. We go for guys who can contribute, and guys at the top of the draft go for the people who can be the future top 10 players. But to your point, when they miss hard.
Yeah.
Right. So that's when you get into sort of that endless cycle of going for upside, doesn't work, still picking high, going for upside, doesn't work, still picking high. If you have a destination city like ours, it makes a lot more sense to go the direction we do, which is like get very good contributors who have still some upside, because you can be a destination for free agents, and that's. But I think to be fair to those teams, I think I've heard you criticize them before. To the teams that maybe aren't as destination cities, I do think it makes sense for them to go for the upside guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you listen to the show. We can always,
Hey, of course I listen to the show, man. This is
He does.
I wouldn't be on.
He's tweeted us a few times, I think.
Well, I like.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the NBA. Daryl Morey, Houston Rocket GM. Okay, I'm going to ask you two questions about players you don't have, but I want your macro view on them.
Okay, I'll do what I can. I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I'll do what I can. I'm ready.
Lonzo Ball. I think he's good. Do you?
Ooh, I'm quite certain I can't talk
He
about
can't
him.
talk about other
dang it.
players.
I
That's
don't- I
differing.
I'm sorry.
Dang it. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I can say I'll say this. I don't like everyone wants players coming into the league, not specifically to all fit in the same box, right? I mean, obviously I love having Shane Battier on our team. Not every player needs to be Shane Battier. Let players be who they are. And who cares who their parents are? Like, I don't get. I mean, I understand he gets a lot of attention, but like, why are we judging the kid based on his parents? That's not fair at all.
That was a good answer. You gave me a lot there for nothing. And the second one
He
is.
didn't talk about his basketball skills or anything.
Okay, here's the second one. I've been on this thing for years. Is that people struggle with the word valuable, and I think LeBron's the most valuable player in the league every year for a million reasons. Nothing against Westbrook, but. How do you view value?
Wait, Westbrook, nothing against James Harden, right?
I love Harden. I was
I know.
I was very pro Harden this year because I thought he tweaked his game and became more community minded. Kind of pass the ball, give it up, and I said it over and over. But like LeBron, isn't he more? He didn't get any votes. I'm looking at these votes for MVP. Do we not understand the value of LeBron?
Well, I again can't directly comment.
Dang it.
I'll talk about generally the MVP voting and list. I do think it's a very reasonable opinion to say that one player has been the most valuable player in the league for the last. I'm going to go with let's see, you got last 13 years now. So I think it's very arguable that there's a player who's been in the league for 13 years and he's been the most valuable. It's just, the whole MVP thing's over. I mean, I would say, we made our points. If you say it's just about a given season, or if you change the definition to be, like how the team will be with you on or off, or however you want to define it, you can come up with different answers. But I do think that it's a very reasonable argument that there's been one player who's been the best player since he entered the league. Say about 13 years ago.
Best two answers to non-answers ever. Okay, so everybody's saying on the street, all my people are like, Houston's not done. Houston's not done. If something happened, would you like it to happen? Could you give me a time frame?
First off, I'd love to be able to enjoy getting one Hall of Famer for at least a day. But I understand. I mean, yeah, we obviously aren't done. I mean, we have, right now as we sit here, 6 very good rotation players. We're hoping to have Nene return, which would get us, 7, I think, very, very high-level rotation players. Mike only really plays 7, so maybe we are done. But no, I think we want to get to 8 to 10. And I also would say, I mean, people last year were saying, hey, it's great, you got a great system around James, and I answered consistently last year, that's good, but I think to win the title, as many USA basketball players you can get as possible, and I would give that answer. I just think the more USA basketball players you can have on your team, the better it is. So we're obviously extremely excited about this group. If we can do something significantly more, we will. We for sure are going to add 2-3 more solid players is our goal.
Had a great time in Houston for the week I was there for the Super Bowl. Gracious city, wonderful people, tremendous food. Daryl Morey, you were terrific today. That's that whole MIT thing. You just had smart answers and you were interesting, and I had an absolute great 15 minutes. Thank you, sir.